This is the metaverse. Hello pioneers. It's been a while since I made my last video. I decided to take a bit of a social media break, and really after the last Pi Day, which was quite a disappointment for everyone, there really wasn't any content to make videos on. I guess I could have covered the hackathon winners, but I pretty well covered most of those projects on a previous video. Big congratulations to all the winners, by the way, especially Meldon and his team for their social media app. But let's get on to the big news in the Pi community. So previously I covered that the home screen I expected, this is for Pi Day actually, I expected to see some new apps released by the core team. Now that didn't happen. However, a few days ago we got a new application called Fireside. Great name, icon looks great. This is a really cool app, and here it is. It's a forum for us. Obviously, it's powered by Web3, because we're adding in the financial component and the blockchain. We drill down, and you can see you can comment on posts and all that, all your usual stuff. It's very basic in its iteration right now, but this is just going to keep on getting better and better. This is actually one of the worst kept secrets amongst us senior pioneers. We've known about our social media app being created for about 6 months now, but it's finally good to see that it's finally arrived. The other reason we knew about this coming was because of Cfan, and her background. So you can see here that she has a social computing background and a social economic background. This is what her studies does. And when you combine this with Nicholas and and blockchain technologies, that's how you get SocialFi. Now, looking at the app a bit more, we'll just go through some of the screens. You can look at the hot posts, the new posts. You've got the channels here. Create your own post. Add your tokens, buying with Pi. And you've got a profile page, where you can see your balances and all that, and your own posts. When you first log into it, you get these startup screens, fuel your voice with crypto, fire boost better and trending posts, get tokens for hot content. So you get a few more of these little startup screens just explaining what fire is and what tokens are, and we're going to go through that. Okay, let's go through and check the functionality of everything. First thing we have to do is buy some tokens using Pi. So if we just use one Pi here, we'll get 100 tokens. Go through the payment system. Now it's very important that you check that it goes to wallet.pi for any transactions to make sure it's legit. You can also check the recipient address. Then we pay with Pi. Check our transaction and send to the network. And we get a payment result, payment complete. And you can see here our balance is now 100 tokens. So now we have our tokens, we can do a post. So let's create a new post. We select a channel, or you can make your own new channel. I'll select Pi Network channel. Put in a post title, put in your content, and you can select how much fire you want to add. Now you can add 1,000 fire here if you want, and that'll put you up the top of the rankings. So it all depends on how much fire you want to put on this post. Create the new post, and there you go. We're all created. All very easy, very nice, great GUI. It's really great. Look here, our balance now is 99 because we spent one token, to get our fire. Now we can add fire to the post. And this is where we add comments or whatever like that. Now if you're the author of the post, the fire that you add won't be included in your rewards. Alright, so I'm going to add 10, pay 10 tokens, and you can see here we've now got 11 fire on our post. We look at the profile, right, again you can see that we've gone down on our balance, and we show you here that we've got 11 fire received in the last 24 hours. Right. Now as we go on and people add fire to our post, you can see here I've got 40 fire on this post, right, and I received 14.5 in tokens as a tip. Right, now that equates to 50%, and the way you get that is that it cost me 11 fire that I added to that post, right, so 40 minus 11 is 29, and 50% of 29 is the 14.5. You can also remove fire, right, which is interesting. I guess it's a way of downvoting, you know, so as long as you've got the tokens and you're willing to pay, you can remove fire from people's posts. Okay, if you look down the bottom right side there, there's a little question mark, so we push on that and we get the FAQ up. The first one is, what is the Fireside Forum's purpose? We're going to go through that a little bit later. The next is, what is fire? Fire is a measure on how hot or trending a post is. Fire diminishes in old posts over time, allowing new ones to start trending. To keep a post hot, you can spend tokens to add fire to it. All right, so fire is the mechanism of determining whether the post's age or how popular it is. What are tokens? Tokens is the currency of the app, right? So this is where we want to make the distinction, because we all thought the token was called fire, right? But fire and the token are two separate things. The token is the currency, and fire is a mechanism, if you like, within the application. And we've seen this in other projects like theatre, right? Where with theatre, if you go on their channel, it's my channel on theatre. They have their own currency, which is theatre, and then they pay their contributors with T-Fuel. Right, so this is a similar way that they're doing it. Currently, we buy the tokens. One Pi will get you 100 tokens, and then the token is 1-to-1 with fire. And here it says that possibly in the future the tokens might be exchangeable back to Pi. Right. Now I assume that this is what's going to happen, but this will happen once the tokens can actually be minted, because currently at the moment nothing's being minted. This is all just virtual currency within the app. So this begs the question, is it worth buying tokens at the moment in bulk, and with the provision that you think that the price compared to Pi might go up? This is where the speculation comes in. It's too early to say. I'm not really sure. Currently, one token's worth 0.01 Pi, which is very similar to the transaction fee. But you've got to figure, with the Pi mining rate going down all the time, Pi is only going to go up in value. So maybe this will just remain stable. Right? So, it's something to think about. Another thing I had a question about was, is exchanging of Pi for other cryptocurrencies? We know that we're not allowed to do that. Is that what we're doing here? Right now, I put this question out onto Twitter, and the general consensus I got back, which is what I agree with, is that it's within the ecosystem of Pi. Right, so we're not actually going over the firewall. We're still within our own ecosystem, and but I mean it is a fair question. So I've asked the core team to clarify this, so hopefully we get some clarification on that. The reason I'm curious, of course, is, what if, does this mean I can just put out my own tokens without actually minting any, So it's a curious question. And the last one is, how long does fire last, right? It's diminishing and it goes after 24 hours, right? And you can see here on my post here, that now it's got 0, right? So it is true, after 24 hours the fire goes away, and you get your rewards for all the fire, right? And this is how they keep the age of posts, It's a great mechanism. Now let's take a bit more of a look at the blog post that was released by the core team, because you're going to see how important it was that they launched Fireside, and how it's really driving home what the Pi network's trying to achieve here, and how important Pi is going to be in the world economics. Right, now, if you look in the blog post, you see a lot of these terms here, designed to both reward positive interactions and curb negative actions, accountability, cyberbullying, help moderate online behaviour, propagating misinformation and disinformation. All these terms are reiterated over and over and over again, right? Because that's how they're going to use the whole point of SocialFi, is it's a financial incentive to improve behaviour and, improve quality of posts and all this. Now, the only problem is sometimes this gets used and abused, right? Especially in things like propagating misinformation and disinformation, right? Who's to say what's right and wrong, and, one man's blue is another man's red, so, the lines get blurred a bit here, especially when you introduce AI, because you can't reason with AI. AI is just going to do what it's told, right? So, and a lot of times too, people get their posts removed and all that because other people are trying to cover up fraud and lies, so there's a lot of grey area here. And this is what I talk about with dialectic governance, right, that I've talked about in other videos, about wishing to establish the truth, right? Now, what's the truth, right? Well, that's the hard thing to work out. You can see here, this is the perfect example, and it's within Pi network, right? Now, to up my utility bonus, what I usually do is I contribute in the chats, but I don't want to do in the main chats, so I just use my own referral team. And all I've been doing is just using Google keyboard and swirling around and just putting in gibberish, right? And that way I do my posts. But you can see here down the bottom, here's 2 examples where 2 posts were actually flagged by the algorithm, right, as being inappropriate content. Now, if you read those things, it's all gibberish. There's no swearing in there, doesn't even mean anything, and it's just random words, right? So you can see here how the algorithm either been poorly programmed or doesn't know the truth, or, it's, in this case, it's completely wrong, right? Now that's okay because there's no harm done here, but what happens when I get a financial fine or something like that, especially in the form of a smart contract, where they just automatically take funds out of my wallet, right, for doing a bad post? In this case, I haven't done a bad post, right? So, it's a slippery slope, it's got to be very, very worked out, and it's only as good as the programmer doing it, really, isn't it? But again, I'd like to iterate the importance of Fireside here, right? Because again, we're showing a mechanism that's going to be used throughout the internet, the whole internet, and we know this is going to happen. So this is where Fireside's very important, and it's showing how important Pi is going to be. Now, we also had, right, and this is to go in with the smart cities, right? And this is what I'm saying, once everything's connected, there's metaverses and all this type of thing. It's a very, very important mechanism, right? And this is also going along with the universal basic income, right? And I've always believed this about Pi. It's the perfect mechanism for that. And, I think in a few years' time, we're going to see that it's just plastered everywhere. The timing is interesting too, like Fireside launch would have been a perfect launch for Pi 2 Day. yet they decided to launch it a month earlier, right? Which is, bodes well, I think, for, more exciting news for Pi 2 Day. And after the last Pi Day, well, who knows? But, let's look with this with optimism, and hope everything, we get some, great news for Pi 2 Day. Right? Open mainnet? Yeah, who knows? We had a big drop in our mining rate. We saw last month the mining rate actually went up, which I didn't even think was possible. So that was interesting, because we were always told that it was always going to be decreasing, right? So, and pretty well it has been. So that was very interesting at that time. We got quite a substantial rate drop here, and at the moment I think it's like 7.5. A new pioneer can earn per month, right? In a year's time, that'll be only 1 pi, and a year after that, it'll be only half a pi. So you can see this is where the value of pi is really, really going to come into fruition, especially if it's a UBI, because you can equate that to how much is 1 pi worth for 1 month, So this decrease in mining rate, I'm all for it. I think it's fantastic. The other thing I saw on Twitter was a thing from PiBridge.io. These guys are pretty dodgy, if you ask me. They're saying that they're going to be allowing access to people who haven't had KYC to be able to get the Fireside Forum tokens. They're not going to be able to do this. The only thing they can do is do IOUs, right? And it's completely out of our ecosystem. So I don't know. You do what you want as far as these guys go, but I just thought I'd report on it. It's news, So that's it. Like I said, great launch, great app, looks cool, everything's cool about it, functionality's fantastic. It's only going to get better. You'll be able to add video and pictures and everything you can do on normal social media apps. It's going to be huge. It's going to be great, especially with all our 45 million pioneers. So. Keep watching the space. Pi's going great. Look forward to Pi 2 Day. And, like I always say, the life of Pi here, there's a reason that they say those things, right? Because, as we know, nothing is a coincidence.